Hey guys, it's Dragon. This time I'm coming to you with some new content. I got a new setup here, so the quality should be better than previous videos. I got a new headset and mic. Big shout out to Imperius of the Chofly community for that. And Dr. Rick in Chofly also showed me a better program for recording my videos. So I appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and get into this. This time I'm going to do a faction review for DemonSpawn. I'm going to go over all of the rare to legendary heroes and any notable uncommon or common, if there is any. I'll go over their skills, if they need booked, areas they may specialize or excel in, any known comps, and I'll rate them based on their rarity. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go into DemonSpawn here. I'm going to start with the legendaries, as DemonSpawn has quite a few notable ones. Prince Kymar here. He's a support type character, and you know, he has some very interesting skills in his kit. The main ones to look out for is his A1. It's an AoE that also plays a 5% poison for one turn if it's critical, so he usually requires a little bit of a crit rate build if you're going to utilize that. And his A3 is a very unique skill that only certain heroes even have similar to. His A3 will reset the cooldown of all of your ally skills and fills their turn meters of all allies except for this champion by 20%. Now that becomes very pivotal in certain comps, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. His A2 is AoE as well, and it removes all buffs and places a sleep debuff for one turn. So it could be utilized in certain dungeons and keeps, and possibly even arena. He has an ally speed aura for arena for 30%. That's a pretty big aura there. As far as his base stats go, he's does okay in HP, attack, and defense. His speed's pretty good, and he has a little bit of above average resist. Other than that, you know, he's fills the role of a support character pretty well. As far as anything that may need booked, his A3, if you're going to utilize him in some of his specialty comps, you know, any turn that you can take off of the A3 is good, and it only requires one book. So if you're lucky, maybe you can do just one book and get that. As far as his other skills go, if you're going to heavily utilize them in faction wars or arena or something like that, then they might be worth booking. But as far as must-haves, is A3. The areas that he excels in, he can be utilized in Clan Boss for the unkillable comp, and possibly even certain speed nuke strategies with people whose main damage comes from their cooldown skills. He is very good in arena, especially for them speed nuke, quick kill kind of comps. Faction wars, of course, he's going to be great in. He can really help utilize the rest of your team very well, and he can actually be used in Spider with the Cold Heart strategy variations. As far as an overall rating, just based off of his kit and his stats and how well he can be used in synergy, I gave him a B+. If we incorporate his looks, he's definitely an A. I like him. I think he looks pretty badass. Alright, well, our next one will be Drex. This is actually a clan. He's one of his favorite heroes. Dr. Rick loves him. Me and him argue about if he's really top tier or not, but in general, we'll get into that. He is a defense-based character, and he has also some fairly unique ability in his kit. As far as skills that are noteworthy, pretty much his entire kit is. His A1 is a 3-hit that also has a chance to place an HP burn, and on top of that, if you do place an HP burn, it heals this champion by 20% of the damage inflicted off of a 3-hit, and he's defense skilled. Yeah, that's a pretty good A1 right there altogether. His A2 is something that I personally like in dungeons and arena myself, and if the time that this video was introduced, the new fusion Molly just came out, and she also utilizes an AoE provoke, and I'm a big fan of that. Even though it's on a cooldown, and it's kind of a decent cooldown. Once booked, it's a 4 turn. You can also book it up to a 60%, and that gives a lot more reliability. So his A2 is real strong. I like it. His passive is very unique, and it's kind of what makes him such a beast in Clan Boss. His passive has a 55% chance of placing an HP burn whenever he is hit. So when the Clan Boss takes his turn and burns, and at the end of his turn it burns off that last turn on the HP burn, it usually goes away until your HP burn hero can apply it again. Well, with this, it gives a great chance, 75% chance actually, for every time he gets hit that he reapplies it. And it reapplies for 1 turn, but that is usually enough to hold you over until either he can apply his HP burn again for 2 turns, or someone else in your team might be able to. Now this is kind of his aura is kind of controversial for me. It's increased ally accuracy in all battles by 70%. Now that is great. And before Ultra Nightmare, it was kind of one of those things that people leaned on a lot instead of instead of grinding for banners, for accuracy banners and stuff. And so it's really good for taking that next step, even though you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle yet. But at the same other side of the same coin, I also feel kind of like it's a crutch, and that people will tend to kind of lean on that instead of going out and grinding banners. So either way, it's a great aura, very strong, something you can utilize from level 1. Honestly, actually, I have a baby account, and he pulled Drex, and immediately he went to lead for my team. Alright, as far as his base stats go, he's a defense scaling hero, so his HP is okay. Doesn't really require much attack, even though his A1 does scale off of it a little bit. His defense, he has a great base defense, and for a defense hero, his speed ain't too bad. Everything else is okay. He gets a decent boost in resist and accuracy at 6-star ascended. So he has a pretty good base stat kit there. As far as the areas that he excels at, of course, Clan Boss, Arena, Faction Wars, he's going to be great. Spider, if you can utilize kind of his HP, his provoke, his AoE provoke, and possibly even play with HP pool manipulation to get Spiderlings, their AI is a little crazy, but to get the Spiderlings to hit him, then he can kind of have an AoE HP burn effect, which, if you know anything about that comp, it's really strong in Spider. And it pretty much can be utilized in most of any dungeon. As far as specific comps, any CB, any Clan Boss team, he's gonna add some value to. He also is very well in when it comes to arena defense, like tank carry kind of comps, where you utilize a lot of support and kind of turtle your way through it. As far as his overall rating, like I said, between his aura, his auto apply passive, AoE provoke, the HP burn A1 with the heal, I gave him an A. Even though me and Rick, we kind of joust each other a little bit about it, he is a great hero. Alright, going on to the next one. Now this is one that I don't actually have much personal experience with or know much about, and after looking over this kit, I was a little underwhelmed. Kandra, I believe is his name, and he has a few notable skills and possibly a couple uses. Let's go ahead and get into that. His A1 is attack one enemy and that places an extra hit if the target is under an increased attack buff. That's kind of very situational, but in arena it's fairly common. His A2 is attack all enemies, and it grants an extra turn and resets the cooldown of on the hunt skill if it kills an enemy. Now that's important because on the hunt is place a perfect veil buff and 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. That means he can't be targeted. When he does attack, he doesn't lose the veil, and it increases attack. Now that's okay by itself, but then his passive is damage increases by an additional 40% while attacking under Veil or Perfect Veil. So if you have the 50% increased attack, the 40% increased attack while under Perfect Veil, and you utilize his A1 to be a main attack, or even his A2 for your early turns of the round, you can really kind of set yourself up to do a 1 or 2 hit, wipe on the board. He has a decent arena aura, pretty good actually. Ally attack by 33% in the arena. So, he kind of seems to be more of an arena specialized kind of team. And since he does have the Perfect Veil, maybe something like a tanky sniper team comp would work very well for arenas, where you have a lot of tanky, maybe someone like Drex, someone that has high defense value and utility for the defensive end, and then Kandra phone here comes in under Perfect Veil with his buffs and kind of snipes out certain heroes. Like I said, not much personal experience, but he looks like he could be utilized in arena under them conditions. As far as his base stats, his HP is okay. He does have pretty good, he has fairly well base attack. His speed's okay. He, of course, since he's an attack hero, he gets that 13% extra crit damage, and he has 10% additional accuracy on on his 6-star ascended. So all in all, he's not too bad. Nothing really awe-inspiring. As far as his rating goes, I gave him a C. If anyone has any more experience with him and knows maybe that he hits like a tank or something, like a truck or something, then go ahead and drop it down in the comments and let me know your experience with him. Our next one is Moret McCobb. Now he's in the campaign. He's a common hero in the campaign maps, and to be honest, I feel like that's probably somewhere where he is. That's where he peaks at. As far as his noticeable skills, his A1 is attacks one enemy and has 60% chance of placing 100% heal reduction. That's great for certain dungeons, such as Spirit Keep and possibly even Fire Knight if you have the right comp, but he's a one-hit A1, so Fire Knight he ain't going to be too strong in either. His A2 is a AoE 2-hitter that places a block buff on targets who are under heal reduction, and if they're not, it still has a 50%, goes up to 60% chance to still apply the block buffs debuff for 2 turns if they don't have the heal reduction. So that that's a little utility there. It could be utilized to kind of lock down some people in arena. That combined with his A1 heal reduction, you might be able to take out a threat in arena. As far as his passive goes, I don't really have much experience with Moret McCobb, so I wasn't quite sure. But 10% chance to unlock the secret skill doesn't seem very reliable, and he has a 20% chance to fill his turn meter by 25% when attacked. So maybe in arena where he's getting attacked, consistently, it might be the second part of that passive. But all in all, it didn't seem like very important to me. The peril is attack one enemy 2 times, and it's a straight hard hitter. It will ignore shield, block damage, and defense, and it cannot be revived. So maybe if his passive can proc that 10% enough, he might be utilized in Golem, but it doesn't seem very reliable to me. And his aura is probably honestly one of the best things in his kit. An ally speed aura in all battles by 24%. As far as his base stat, 23,000 HP, that's great. He has okay attack, kind of subpar defense, and kind of average to subpar speed as well. Since he is kind of a DPS, he has 13% crit damage, which really kind of helps his kit out, and a 10 additional resist. So he's kind of a mid. To me, he just kind of came off as a mid-tier hero that could possibly be effective if you're free to play, and this is one of your few options, and quite possibly faction wars. As far as an overall rating, I gave him a C. And to be honest, some of that probably just comes off of his looks. He is definitely DemonSpawn. There's no doubt about that. All right, our next one is Lord Shazar. Now I had kind of issues filling out where he fits in, even though his kit's pretty direct. Like some people have had experience where he hits real hard, and he kind of becomes a key hero when it comes to arena. As far as his kit goes, his A2, A3, and his aura seem to be real strong. His A1 is 3 hit, it's pretty good, and it increases as damage increases by 15% for each debuff. So if you're running a debuff heavy team, then that's probably going to hit pretty well. Kind of snipe out some enemies there. His A2 is place a 50% increased attack buff on this champion. Cannot be removed, and place a block debuff buff on this champion, grant an extra turn. So it's kind of like a setup move. He sets himself up to do more damage, and he can't be directly debuffed himself. Now his A3 is kind of his niche skill, and even though some people have said that he can hit real hard, it's a bomb skill, and from my experience, the bombs are not reliable damage, and they don't scale well. There's a few other content creators that agree with that, so we'll just leave that at that. But it is an AOE, and you can get it down to a 5-turn, and it has a 75% chance of placing 2 bombs that detonate after 2 turns, but they decreases the detonation count by 1 if the attack is critical. So you're going to want to build him critical, so that way when it places it, the very next turn that the enemy goes, if it applies the bomb will blow up, and up to 2 of them. Anyone who farms 12-3 or 12-3 brutal knows that them bombs can be a game ender early to mid game. It'll ruin your run. Your farmer may not even survive to do their second turn on the 3rd wave. So it can be effective, I suppose. Faction wars as bosses, it might be real great against their ads, or possibly even do great damage against them if you can figure out the scaling well and put that together. Now here's one undeniable thing: Lord Shazar has one of the best arena speed auras. He is a great speed lead. So if you put him in there, and then you got the AoE bomb count with a crit on it, you can kind of really utilize him in the in a bomb team, or even possibly a speed nuke team in arena. So he's definitely usable. As far as booking goes, if you're going to use him, his A2 and his A3, they would probably definitely benefit to keep him efficient throughout the runs. Then I'm not quite sure if that's where you'd want to spend your Lego books. That's kind of roster dependent, as legendary tomes tend to be pretty rare. Overall, I gave Lord Shazar a C+. He, in some people's opinion, he might deserve a little more, but to me, he just doesn't seem like someone I would run in arena. All right, going on to the next one, we got Drexa. Drexa, she looks awesome. Alien's mother back with a vengeance. She looks great. She's a fairly new hero as well. As far as her skills go, she has a pretty decent kit. Pretty much the entirety of it, can be utilized. Her A1 is a 4-hit that ignores 50% of enemy defense. As far as I know, I don't have personal experience, but I, do have some videos and such that I've seen. She hits hard. And her A2 is attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 25, the big version of Weaken, for 2 turns, and a 50% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target. On top of that, it grants an extra turn. So you can start your rotation with her A2, then go to her A1, and hit for a total of 5 times, technically on the same turn. No one has a chance to go in between it. So she has a very strong DPS kit. Her passive brings her to her kit a little self-sustain. She places a revive on death at the beginning of the round, and then she places a revive on death on herself or when she kills an enemy. So, by the way, that does not proc on spiderlings. They made sure to limit that. But she has a fairly self-centered kit, but it really works with herself to be able to spit out some damage. As far as her aura goes, she has a fairly strong all ally, all battle, 24% attack aura. That's pretty good in my book, especially since she's void, so she can kind of go with almost any comp as a DPS. If you find yourself needing a little more attack, she can put that in, you know, dungeons, arena, pretty much anything. Also, since her A1's a fort hit, I've seen people use her in clan boss. As far as her comps, really the only thing outside of just being raw DPS, raw damage, if you want to specialize your team into being a Giant Slayer comp for clan boss, you know, defense down, weaken, attack up, all of that, she could run very well in a Giant Slayer type of format for clan boss. As far as areas, she is, you know, good at. She's pretty much good in a lot of different areas. Force keep, due to the weaken and the multi hits, and the ignore defense on her A1. Magic keep because she removes debuffs with her A2, or I'm sorry, she removes buffs from the enemy. She can run in the CB in the clan boss. She can run in Fire Knight due to her multi-hit A1. She can kind of be utilized in a lot of different places. If I had to pick, I would say she's probably best in arena and force keep, magic keep, kind of the potion dungeon, stuff like that. Overall, her base stats, she has some okay HP. She has pretty good at base attack. She has real nice speed for DPS, and since she is DPS, she has that 13% extra crit damage. So, you know, all in all, she hits hard. And then if you apply that with her awesome aesthetics, I gave her an A minus. If anyone feels that, you know, maybe she is an A plus, because especially for DemonSpawn, she is one of the hard hitting heroes, please let me know down in the comments. Our next one is, oh man, I know I'm not gonna get his name right. Inithwi Blood Twin. He's also fairly new. He's I guess he's Drex's little brother. His kit's okay. I wasn't overly impressed with it, but we'll get into it. His A1 is attack one enemy and decrease the target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. That's kind of niche in itself. It could help with Spirit Keep. It could help with Fire Knight. It could also help in Arena, possibly Faction Wars boss. Not exactly sure. His A2 is a 3-hit single target, and damage increases equal to the percentage of HP the target has lost. So his A1 and his A2 kind of go together in that sense. Like, it's not just based on the damage that he has dealt, you know, that the current HP level of the enemy is, but possibly, I believe that it might also be with how much has been decreased. That might need a little bit of experimenting with, but it's decent. His A3 is an AoE, and to me it just didn't come off as super strong. I don't know what the multipliers are, but he has an AoE with an 80% that can be booked up to 100% chance of placing a 10% leech for 2 turns. Leech in most content can be kind of underwhelming. It's a 4-turn, can be booked down to 3, so, you know, if you find yourself running lifesteal and need a little bit of leech because you don't run a healer, I could see that being plausible. His aura, or I'm sorry, his passive, heals himself by 30% of his max HP each time they kill an enemy, and enemies killed by this champion cannot be revived. So that right there kind of brings him a little bit of self-sustain. And then block revive is great for Arena and Golem, the minions for Golem. So, you know, it brings a little bit of variety to his uses there. His aura is a 33% all ally, all battle attack aura. That's real strong. So if you do have him and you find yourself in Golem or Spirit Keep, Arena, he could definitely add some more damage to your heroes. As far as his base kick, his base stats go, he has kind of low HP, so he's not exactly squishy, but he's definitely gonna be hard to keep alive in a lot of situations. Luckily, his passive will help kind of healing. He has amazing attack stat, probably one of the highest for DPS. 99 speed is also great since he is DPS. He has that 13% extra crit damage. That's nice always. And he has a little bit of accuracy. I believe that his A1 and his leech, they both need accuracy. Not quite sure about this. It might just be an automatic. All right. As far as his comps go, they're really just like an arena sniper. You kind of in there to pick off certain threats in an arena team. And due to his kit just kind of being questionable at best, I figured my thought is that he doesn't need book. He's not worth putting legendary books into. So putting all that together, he does look cool. He does look it looks like some boss at the end of a Skyrim or Elder Scroll kind of game. I gave him a D plus. To me, it just wasn't all that impressive. Well, that about does it for the DemonSpawn Legendary Heroes. I will be releasing a video for the epics and the rares as well, going over their kits, their uses, where they may highlight at. I haven't really seen an entire faction review been released yet, so if you like this content, please leave me a comment down at the bottom. And as always, happy grinding and may the shards break in your favor.